Hi friends, Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting life. It's week 20. This week is week 20 of the Skulliver Sew Along. The book is so full, you can't close it. It just kind of sits open. So if you guys haven't gotten your Skulliver already and would like to do Skulliver, I have put a link right up here for you to go to Legit Kits and pick up your Skulliver today and go back to video 1 and start on following along. And if you don't want to do Skulliver, they have tons of other patterns to choose from, and they range from beginner to advanced. So anyways, today we're going to get started on putting the blocks together. We need to make 64 blocks. Some of them are already started for us because it's already just one solid square already, or rectangle, because these are actually rectangular blocks. So we're going to get started on putting those together today. So hopefully this doesn't take so long and it won't be as many weeks worth of putting together all 64 blocks, because they should go pretty quickly. So let's get started, and I'm going to show you how to combine all those pages that we have made into some blocks. Okay, so here is our overflowing book. Here is what the chart looks like from the pattern side. So that means the paper side of things, and this is what it will look like when it's finished. We're going to go through now and go to these first pages where the A's are. Okay, so I have 2 pages here of A's and the start of B. I'm going to go ahead and pop this out right here, just like that. I'm going to close the book, or at least the things in the book, and we're going to go right here. Now remember when I said that there were whole pieces? I'm going to slide that out of the way, dump all that out. There are whole pieces, and what I mean by that is our rectangle blocks here. A1, oh, that got bent. Oh well. A2 and A4. Those are full, oh man, they've been bent in here. Full blocks, like that, okay? So those we don't need to do nothing with. We're just going to keep the papers on them until we start putting the rows together and assembling the quilt. So for now, I'm just going to put those aside, and we're going to start with right here on these pages. We're going to go to A3A and A3B. So 2 sections will complete 1 rectangle right here. So A3A and A3B, A3A and A3B. There we go. Those are the first 2. And what we're going to do is they go together like that, okay, to create the rectangle. But to get them together like that, we need to put them fabrics right sides together, and we need to pin. That's right, I said it, pin. I don't ever pin, but we are going to pin, because we need to line up the point here, right there. That point needs to be aligned with that point on this opposite side. So on our black line. So let's grab some pins. Here we go. And we are going to take our first pin, and I'm going to put it through the hole right here, just like that. And then I'm going to put it on here, and I'm going to put it through the hole on this side. So I'm just going to aim for that hole on this side. Oops, right about over a little bit. There. So those 2, you can see my pin has lined them up. Just going to straighten them up. Look at that. It didn't stay straight. Make sure that it's straight. I'm going to put my pin right sides like this, straight up and down, and then I'm going to stab it through. So it's going through, matching both of those up. Then I'm going to take another pin and go on this opposite side, and I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to go in right here on this one. So it's in through that hole, nice and straight. And I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to come in to this corner right there. You see where my pin is coming out? Right in that corner. I'm going to line that up nice and straight like this. I'm going to pop my pin down in there. So now they're on there just like this. So when we open it up, it'll create a whole entire block. And we're going to sew. Now we already trimmed everything as we were going. We're going to sew on the black line. So I'm going to start up here. I'm going to give it a back stitch. And then I'll come down this line to right here and give it a back stitch to end it. So we're going to be very careful about that. So let's go over to the machine and sew that. Here we are at the machine, and I zoomed in so that you can see what I'm doing here. So I know that these are lined up. I'm going to go ahead and remove that pin, and I'm going to drop my needle down in that hole. Right there in that corner. Then I'm going to drop my presser foot, and I'm going to take a stitch forward and a back stitch. And a back stitch. And I'm going to make sure that I'm still stitching with my 1.5-ish stitch length. And I'm going to stay in this, on this black line. So you can sew slow or fast, however, there is a little bit of bulk at the start of that piece. Making sure that everything is staying aligned. The paper looks like it's trying to ruffle. Just hold it nicely. Stay on that line. I'm coming to this last one right here. So I'm going to stitch right up to it. I'm not going to stitch the needle. I'm going to pull that needle out, forward stitch, back stitch, forward stitch, and then cut my thread. So now I have stitched on that line. So when we fold this open and press it, we will have a rectangle right here. Okay, there's going to be some bulk right here because there was a lot of pieces that came together, but that's how it's lined up. So there is our first unit done. I'm going to save the pressing till we're done with all these blocks today, but there is one block so far. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. We're going to go back over and do some more. Okay, so it's done. It is the same size as the other piece. So it's the same size. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in that pile facing up. And we're going to go and grab this one now. So A5A and A5B. There's only two pieces on that unit. Here's A5A. And still looking. That's A8. A5B. There we go. So here's two pieces. Those two go together and create a unit. These are going to be the same thing. Right sides together. Making sure when you're putting these together, make sure that you're reading them correctly. So I can read these right sides up. I'm not flipping or moving, just laying them on top of each other. And this time, they're not as diagonal as the last. So this time, we're going to go in through this hole right here. Oops. Try to make sure that this stays flat, the fabric on there. Okay. And then I'm going to take that same pin now, and we're going to go to this back hole right here, creating a hole. We're going to line up right there in that corner. Just like that. But we also want to make sure that our fabric is flat the whole time because it wants to move ever so slightly. So I have those two. I'm going to go ahead and put that pin down in there. Maybe not at that very moment. I'm going to line up these two. I'm going to put my pin through this corner. It's kind of hard to do and show you guys at the same time. So it's through that corner. And then we're going to come and put it through, a little bit over. It's kind of hard to do this on the flip side. Right there. So now it's in the corner. I'm going to straighten these guys up. Just like this. I'm going to drop my pin there. Straighten this guy back up. And drop my pin right there. And we're going to do that same thing. I'm going to start right here in this corner. Take a front stitch, back stitch. Sew on the black line, which will be sewing on the same line on this opposite side. So you can see I'm pinned in the corners. Everything's hooked together. So I'm going to go now, forward stitch, back stitch, come across. There's going to be some bulk right here. There's a lot of pieces coming together right there. And the paper doesn't help it at all, but the paper is going to get ripped away anyway. We're going to come along and hook it right there and end it with a forward stitch, back stitch. Here we are at the machine again. I'm going to go ahead and pull that needle most of the way out. I'm going to drop my needle at that corner. I'm going to plop that pin out, take a stitch forward, backward, forward, just like that. And now I'm going to hold this other end and I'm going to stitch on my black line. Here we come over this nice big hump. It's a lot of seams right there. Coming together on the black line all the way up to this pin. Remove pin, take a stitch forward, backward, forward, backward. And here we have the next piece. So you could see all of my seams come together in the correct spot. My piece is nice and rectangular. Everything lines up. This one is now done. And again, we're going to be pressing after the fact. So there that is. Let's go over and start the next one. Okay, so let's grab the book. This time we're hooking 4 pieces together. So we have A6A, A6B, A6C, and A6D. So we're going to move the book out of the way and find A6A, A6A. Then we're going to find A6B, A6C, and A6D. A, B, C, D, A, 6A goes here, 6B, 6C, 6D. Okay, there we go. So these 4 are going to go together. So now it's the same concept. So we're going to be doing these 2 first. Well, right sides together, you know what I'm saying. These 2 first, these 2 second. So you can read them all right side up. We're going to go ahead and put these 2 together, keeping everything nice and flat. I'm going to do that same procedure where I stick my pin at that corner. And I'm going to come down to this guy and stick it in the corner. Again, this is very hard to do like this on camera. There's a lot of seams coming together right here too. All right, there. So there's one. Just going to leave that pin sticking out of there. I'm going to come down here, stick the pin right this one in that corner, and then we're going to come down to this one, and he's going to come right here on this bottom, right in that corner. So I'm going to lay them down, straighten them up, run my pin the rest of the way through. Again, there's a lot of seams at this one right here, this junction. So I'm going to be very careful with that. Just going to leave that one there, and then we're going to put 2 pins down here too. So again, fabric is right sides together. Go ahead and grab my pin. I'm going to put him right here in this corner. And I'm going to make sure that this is straightened out. It's going to be about right there, I think. Just a little bit further down. There we go. So there's that one. And then I'm going to go ahead and line this one up right here. I'm going to stick that in that corner. Make sure that this is nice and flat, and I'm assuming that that's about where it is. Right there. Straightening them out on the pins first, just like this, and then locking my pin in there. Locking the pin in there, just like this. So now we're going to sew back stitch, stitch down, back stitch, stitch down, back stitch, and then these 2 are going to get connected after we sew them. So let me go sew on these, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now these are sewn together like this and like that. Now, some people I've seen press these seams open, and I may do that, honestly, because there is a lot of bulk here. Like a lot, because there's this many seams. You can see how it lined up. There's so many seams coming together right here. There's 3 on this side and 4 on this side, because this one counts in there too. So there's so many seams coming together that pressing them open may help a little bit when it comes to putting everything together as a whole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my roller and roll these open. And you can do the same with all of these. So if you want less bulk on all of your pieces, I would suggest pressing them open instead of to one side, but that's why we were waiting to press. But now that we're combining more sections, it's nice to just get them flat now. So let's get these a little bit flat now, because we're going to be piecing them together. There's a lot of bulk right there. So you can see mine aren't perfect right here, and I don't really want to take that apart. As long as this top is straight and this bottom is straight, that's a good thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll these. It seems so weird because I don't ever press anything open usually, but things like this, where there's this many seams, it's best to just press open. So now these 2 pieces, the A6A and the A6B, are going to go to the A6C and A6D. So it's going to be that same procedure, right sides together. We're going to run a pin through this corner right here, same as all the others, and then come up through this corner right here. And then those 2 will go together. And I just left my pin in there for now. And then we're going to take this side and poke a pin through this corner here. And through that corner here. Just like that. So now that they're straight, just gonna hook that one down, straighten this one out, and that one down, and you can see right here are not going to be the same, but I want to make sure that these seams stay open and flat, so I'm going to go ahead and pop a pin in there, just like this, and now I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to sew down this line, back stitching at the top and the bottom. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and drop my needle down in that corner. And then I'm going to remove my pin, forward stitch, back stitch, and start sewing down it. Everything's lined up. I'm sewing on the line. I'm making sure that these seams stay open right here as well. I may not see that line, but I know that it's there. And the other side I came out on a line, so that's good. I'm going to come right here, pull that needle, come right into that corner, out the corner. And there. We have this unit now complete. So all A6A, B, C, and D are together. The seams are pressed open, and this final seam right here will also get pressed open. So I will go ahead and roll this one open as well. Okay, so now we're going to move on. I'm going to flip the page. And this one we're going to need A7A, A7B, A7C, and A7D. So here's A7D, A7A, A7B, A7C. So A, B, C, and D. Just like that. So this one, we just need to hook these two centers. So they're going to go right sides together. We just have a little one here. We're going to take and pop that pin in. Same with each step. Goes right into that corner. Flip it over and take that pin through that bottom corner right there. Just going to leave that pin sticking out real quick. We're going to come over here and do this one. So in through that corner and out through that corner, just like that. I know that they're straight, just like this. I'm going to hook them. We're going to go and sew this one on the line, back stitching. And then once this is sewn, I'm going to press this open and we're going to attach this one and the bottom one. So I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and press it open right here. Use my roller. Same thing I used when I was putting this whole thing together, was rolling all these seams open or to the side or wherever. Just like this. Giving it a little bit of pressure because this is not an iron, it's just to roll them open. There's so much bulk right here, and I'll worry about the rest of that when I iron the pieces. But there we have that. So now we're going to hook this top and then the bottom together. So we're going to put these right sides together. I'm going to stick my pin right there in that corner. I'm going to come to this corner. Oh, no, there's a little bit over. Right there. Okay, I'm just going to leave that there for a second. Straighten this out. Plop that pin right here. This is where it's nice to have good eyes when you're doing this, so that you can see where your pin is going, out that corner. I have them nice up and right side up like this. I pop that pin that side. I'm going to straighten this guy out right here. Put that pin there. And I'm also going to add a pin right here in the center. Just like this. And now I'm going to sew from this corner on that black line to this corner, back stitching at my start and stop. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and press this guy open. And remember, your papers are going to stay on. We're not ripping the paper off yet. So much bulk right there. But again, we make it work. Just like that. You can see even rolling it. It's trying to fold it funny. All right. So you can see all that comes together really nicely. Just like that. So now we're going to turn it back around. We're going to add this bottom one. So again, right sides together. Go ahead and put this pin right here in this corner. And I'm going to assume that it's about right there. Almost. I was almost on it. And put it through that corner. Just going to straighten the pins out. And then go to this side. Right there, perfect. I'm going to straighten the pin in there. Everything's nice and straight. I'm going to put the pin in there. And again, I'm going to add one right here to the middle. Just to be on the safe side, keeping it all nice and flat. And this guy needs to be popped out and aligned down some, because he is sitting too high. See where this adjusting comes in? So now it's sitting flush. There we go. So now they're even with each other. We want them to be even. We don't want to see one out further than the other. So now I'm just going to go sew this all the way down on that black line. Okay. So now I'm just going to go ahead and, for now, press this open this way. Everything lined up how it was supposed to. And then when I'm completed all of these, I will press them with the iron, no steam, just a dry iron. All right, so there's that whole unit. And they're pressed open for now. So I'm going to place that aside. And we're going to move on to, we just did this one now, so now we're going to do A8A, A8B, and A8C. There's A8C, A8A, and A8B right here. All right, so these are the pieces for this unit. We're going to repeat those same steps. So right sides together for these two. I go ahead, stick my pin in here. Make sure that the fabric is flat underneath it too. Come out right here on that. Right there. Just going to leave that pin there for a second. This side is going to be a little tricky because it's not tacked down. Here, right there. So let's get this guy first. Right here. And then I'm going to just straighten this up on the paper. And I'm going to aim for this. Here's one of those really tight corners. Right there. Let the thing focus. So you can see that's a very tight corner right here. I'm going to go ahead and just stick that pin in there. Straighten this one back out on this side. Laying it down, getting that pin right sides up like this. Throwing it down in there. I'm going to straighten this middle out too and pop a pin right there. So that way they are on top of each other properly. And I'm also, while here, going to put this one on down here. I'm just going to hook him on here as well. So again, I have a really tight corner here and here on this one. So I'm going to go in there and come out on that corner down there. I'm going to leave that pin just kind of hanging out for a second. And then I'm going to come down here. Put that sharp corner in there. And grab this sharp corner right down here. Right there. I'm going to tighten this pin in right there. Straighten this guy out. Put that pin nice and tight there. And then we're going to grab the center and just make sure that they're on top of each other properly and throw a pin in it. So you can see they're nice and level all the way down. And now I'm going to stitch this one and this one over at the machine. Okay, so now I checked while I was over there, this point matches up, and this point matches up, and this point matches up. So I did pretty darn good there. Just going to go ahead and finger press these open using the roller. And again, I'm going to be ironing these, so right now, if it's not perfect, that's okay. All right, turn it around and do this one. All right, last one. So we're just going to check the book to make sure. We have B2A and B2B, B2A and B2B. These ones are just going to go, oops, I keep wanting to do that. This way, onto that way. So again, I'm just going to stick my needle right here, come onto this side, put the pin in there. I'm just going to leave that pin sticking out for a second while I put these two there, and all right, oops, a little bit over there. So this is probably the part that takes the longest, is all the pinning. Pinning it, sewing it, pinning it, sewing it. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick a pin in right here at this center junction, because pieces are going to come together here and on the other side. They're going to join together. So there's going to be a lot of bulk right there. So I'm going to go ahead now. Everything's nice and straight. I'm going to sew on this line again, and I'll be right back. All right, so here's this page now. So you can see those points come together, but there's a lot of bulk right here, a lot of bulk. So that's when the iron, pressing it with a dry iron, is going to help keep all this nice and flat. So I'm just going to roll it for now, trying to go over that big old bulky seam. And when I hit the iron with it all, it'll be nice and flat. So there's that one. So look at, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total pages already right here. So that's 1 row plus 1. So we're going to continue on because I kind of want to just get this done. So now we're going to go to the next page. So these 2 pages, I'm going to put this back in the book for now so that we know that those front 2 are done. Just going to slide this in there. All right, so these 2 pages now are all the stuff that's in here. So we're going to go ahead and plop all that out. Okay, we're going to move back to this page. We're going to slide this over. We're going to grab out the solids. So here's 1 full page right here. So I'm just going to put this face down. Here is another full page already. So we're just going to go ahead and place this over there because it's already done. And then we're going to go ahead and see how many more. There's another full page right here. Another full page right here. Oop, it's been in there so long, it decided to fold my fabric. So that's why we're going to press everything before hooking it all together. And here's another full page here. And another full page here. So now we're going to work on B4A and B4B. So here's B4A. And let's find B4B right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and, since I know those 2 go together, I'm going to grab the next 2 or 3, B5A, B5B, and B5C. So B5C, B5B, B5A. And then the next set, because we're just going to do this in order now because this is the part that's going to go a lot quicker, putting all these together. All right, so B8A and B8B. So B8A and B8B. So we're going to go ahead and put the 3 of those together now. I'm just going to put all the pieces up there for now out of the way. And we're going to attach all of these now. So it's going to be the same concept. Same thing. We're still doing the same thing. So right sides together with the pieces. And we're going to be sticking our pins into the corners, coming out the opposite corner. And this one is one of those really tight corners right here. See, and it's hard to line it up. I'm going to be very careful about this. Right there. You can see pin is in right there. I'm just going to leave the pin sticking out for a second while I find this corner and this corner that went right in. I'm going to straighten that out. That's the way I want it. Straighten it out. That's the way I want it. And I'm going to go ahead and throw one in the middle because I want them fully lined up. So there that is. Everything's nice and lined up. There's going to be a little bit of bulk right here. I'm just going to set that aside and I'm going to put some pins in this one now. I'm going to start with this guy right here, right sides together. Grab some more pins. Go in for this corner. Down there. Keeping that pin kind of sticking out for a second. Right here. And oops, down just a little bit. Right there. Keep it nice and straight for a second. Lining everything up. Drop the pin down. Drop the pin down right there. And I'm going to go ahead and put one right here in this middle. And then this side now, I know it seems kind of tight, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on there. I'm going to go ahead, add here, and then straighten this one and put the pin right there. Leave it stick out for a second. Line these two sides up. Pin in the corner. Pin in the super sharp corner. There we go, right there. I'm going to straighten the two up. I do have them nice and tight against other pages, but I'm trying to make sure that everything is together the way I want it. There's one. And we're going to make sure that this one's nice and straight. Right there. There's two. I'm going to add one in the middle. Just like this. So that one's all ready for me to sew. So I'm just going to sew on that line. Then I'm going to come back and sew on this line. And this last piece right here. I'm going to prep this one too. They're right sides together. I'm going to stick a pin here. And then come to this joint right here. There's a lot of seams coming together right here. So the pin doesn't even want to go through that corner. Right there. There it is. And then this bottom one. And its counterpart. Right there. Straighten the pin. Straightening the pages as well. And the last pin. Nice and straight. This one has a bunch of seams right at the start. All right, so all of these pages are now ready. I'm going to sew them real quickly like. Okay, so there's this one. Just gonna roll it open, just like that. And as you can see, the seams matched perfectly there, and the corner came in perfectly right there. So that one is nice and complete. And then this one, let's roll this one real quick. There's a lot of seams right here. This one is hard to roll, very hard. But we're gonna make it happen. Take a hammer to it, get it to stay down. All right, and again, they match up as best as possible right here. This one's a little off, but that could have been when I pieced these papers. But this one does line up with that one. So I'm not sure if that one was supposed to be like that, but the ends are equal. So there's that. And then there's this one. That's 2. We're going to go ahead and roll this one all the way down. There's some seams at the end. There we go. And then this one. Again, some seams at the end and some seams at this end. Okay, we're going to take a look at it. And you can see that and that are nice straight lines where they're supposed to meet up. Right here is a nice corner. You can see, created a nice corner. That one did too. So everything looks good there. We're going to set that over here and set that over here. Moving on. So here's some more pages. And I'm going to go ahead and move to the next side. So we're at C2A, C2B, C2C, and C2D. C2A, C2B, C2C, C2D. I'm thinking it goes this way. There we go, C2C, yep, B, and A. All right, so this is how this one will go. Looks kind of weird because this one seems bigger. Sometimes they seem bigger than they're supposed to be, but once they're together, okay. So I'm going to connect these two together first. I'm going to stick a pin here. Oh, come on, right there. Wow, I couldn't get that one for the life of me. And then we'll go right here, grab, go, whatever I'm trying to say all at the same time. And pop that bottom one in. Just like that. Just straighten them out. There we go. And pop my needle down in there. This one's straightened out. Pop that needle down in there. And then I'm going to sew this, and then I'm going to attach the top and bottom. Okay, so now the next step is just to press these. And I'm using a dry iron. We just want to get this as flat as possible, these open seams. So I'm literally just making them flat and stay flat with a hot iron because they need to stay flat. So after I press from the rear, I'll come to the front, give it a good press from the front. Just like that. And there, that one is finished. And then we just move on to the next and the next and the next. Okay, so now we have 21 total completed blocks, but that also includes the blocks that did not have to be pieced, that were, the larger ones that were already pieced. But if I kept going, this video would be very, very, very long. So next week we will continue. So we got up to C4C. So next week we're going to be working on C6B and C6A and on from that as far as we can get. So there's 21 pieces total that are ready to be laid out this week if we want to lay them out. Obviously, I can't because, you know, things are going on around here and it's impossible to do that. But the next week we will work on the next set of however many pieces that we can get done. There was a lot of pieces, but we got all the units together. And as you can see, all the seams I have pressed open. And then I went ahead with the iron and pressed them all. So everything's nice and flat, nice and ready. So we will work on some more pieces next week. So I will see you in week 21. Don't forget to check out the Skulliver up here, the link to legit kits. Again, they have other kits that you can choose from. As you can see, they are quite beginner friendly. But if you don't feel that way, just breathe, because you can do this. You got this. I believe you can do it. So I'm going to see you guys next week. Bye for now.